Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another edition of Airy Sky Release video blog. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to cook pork chops or dummies. First thing you need, 4 cans of soup, mushroom, pork chops, oil. I don't use any salt, pepper. First, you do this. Make some room on the stove area, and we're going to prepare the pork chops. So, first, little tin of oil. Do we have any vegetable oil? Yes, we do. Here we go. First, vegetable oil. What you want to do with your vegetable oil is layer the bottom of your frying pan so nothing sticks. There we go. Second, you're going to want to keep washing your hands so you don't have oil on it. All right. Now that your hand is completely clean, your next step is going to be fun. Okay? How to cook pork chops. Simple. We'll move this over here. And then we grab the pork chops. 1 bag of pork chops right here. What you do is turn it to medium. And you start layering the pork chops one by one. All right, so these pork chops will go in the fridge because we got to start browning the first set of pork chops. All right, so as we do the browning, we will get a spatula and some other stuff. That's right. And you don't cook bunnies. Hi, Boo Boo. Next tool you need is a long fork. And as you cook them, the secret is to brown them. So you want to brown the pork chops. As you can see in here, you got to brown them. So because it's going to take a couple minutes for it to heat up, once you brown them, once you brown your pork chops from cooking, you once you brown the pork chops, right, completely, you bake them. So the oven ain't ready to be doing But see, once you brown them, you want to put it in a roasting pan with the lid on the roasting pan. Brown the second set of pork chops, right? And once those are browned, you put them in the oven with the mushroom soup as a gravy base. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now we're browning them, right? So, no joke. I'm not making any jokes. I'm cooking, okay? Cooking a fabulous dinner tonight. So, and if you want to speed it up, you can always turn the temperature up another notch or two on your stove. That will help cook it and start the browning process. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here until I fall asleep half hour. No joke. I'm not making no jokes. I have no jokes to give. I have no jokes to give. However, your other email or your other comment was very intriguing to me. Yeah. The one where you said, no scanner links? Well, I don't have any to give, so sorry. And then he said, I will get a scanner. Yeah, in time. So apparently the scanner people, I am. It's in there. See? I already put the oil in. And they're now browning. So, anyways, your thing was intriguing because you said something like, you will get a scanner. Don't send any links. Well, I don't have any to give. Hopefully, I'm not going to wake up one day with a FedEx package on my door saying, here you go, you got it, or UPS. Amazon sends UPS. But anyways, so the forum I went to, everyone, there's a forum I go to. They said that, after a few years, it gives a lot of trouble. So I guess that's why they're not selling like hotcakes. But it is an interesting concept. So, anyways, I got the oil, and it's browning. I put a little oil in the pan so it doesn't stick, and then as long as it doesn't splatter like bacon, we can brown them. Oh wow, look at this. So apparently a lot of people are complaining about Whistler. They're like, the 1065 is cheaper, but they're like stopped receiving. How to decode, how to do this, how to do that, how to software search birdies, cannot find correct programming, it won't find channels, stop receiving. So, I think for this conversation piece, I think we're going to skip the Whistler brand altogether. For some of you wondering, I'm browning pork chops. That's why I'm getting up all the time. Oh, here we go. So we turn the temp down just a bit. And they're browning in the pan. There we go. We just want to brown them. Right. 2 cans on the top, 2 cans on the middle, 4 cans water. We're good to go. That makes plenty of gravy, and you can use the gravy with your mashed potato, box mashed potatoes to do mashed potatoes and gravy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, it depends on the 2 models. We only have 2 to do. So for browning the pork chops, we're browning them now. When we're done, we will move along to browning more pork chops. Then so many pork chops, there's like 6. So leftovers tomorrow. If Chloe doesn't eat them all. Give it a minute or 3, give it 3 more minutes or so, and then we'll change over to browning the next set. Next time making a stock pot full of chicken gravy, need more for soup stock. Well, the secret to making soup stock is there's 2 ways of doing it. 1, take a soup pot on the stove, buy several Cornish game hens, strip it of meat from the grocery store, or buy several whole chickens, or you buy rotisserie chickens, 2 rotisserie chickens minimum, or maximum. You take the rotisserie chickens, strip it all the way down to the bone, just leaving the carcass. Throw the carcass in the cook pots, and you boil it, and you slowly turn the temperature down and let it boil for a while, and then eventually let it simmer. And when you're done, you strain out the chicken stock from the bones, and then you put it into containers. If you're going to use it right away, people, then what you do is you put it into your refrigerator overnight, let it coagulate on the top, so you have a little bit of, whatever. Next morning, you take your soup stock out, put it into your crock pot. There we go. Look at this. Nice and brown. See? All right. Then you. Okay. We'll make sure it's boiled up nicely. And then, next batch, pork chops. And then, throw the bag away. First set brown. I'll show you the first set in a second. Okay. Now, wash hands. I like to be clean when I cook. You can't not fault me for not wanting to stay clean. All right. And by the way, just so you know, hey, look, Higgins, if you're watching, I'm really cooking dinner tonight. Okay, so for some of you out there, I'm going to move. All right. So it goes like this. I'll show you the next step. So here's the pork chops, nicely browned. See? Browned pork chops. See that? Still oinking, but don't worry. I'll show Zoe if you can. There we go. Nicely browned pork chops. Now the next step is going to be fun. I eat pork chops. The roasting pan. Now what you do is you open this up. Okay. And then you layer pork chops like this. Okay? And a spatula. For some of you wondering, I have a spatula with me. Okay, so first can, done. Do it this way. It can have a pork chop. No, you may not. They're not cooked. You can have a pork chop. No. All right, so then two cans water for this batch. Yeah, remember I'm doing 4 cans. There's 6 pork chops. 1 can, 2 cans. Preheat your oven to 350. Take your fork, check on your browning, your pork chops. There we go. And now they're browning on the other side. So you just want to brown them. Because once you get them in the oven with the lid on that pot, you're going to cook it with the gravy and soup together mixture for 1 hour. First layer of pork chops goes on the bottom. Second set of pork chops sits right on the top. So they'll be cooking stacked on top of each other with a nice amount of gravy on the top. So there's 2 more cans right here. Hopefully I don't need a 5th can, but if I do, I'll be fine. So So we're going to brown this for another 2 or 3 minutes. And then afterwards, I'm going to see if we need to put another can in, just in case. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. Make 5 cans. Make sure it's pretty well good. You want it to semi-cook in the gravy. All right, so 1 more cup. Also, if you don't have mushroom soup, or if you're not interested in mushroom soup, feel free to use other mushroom soups. You can use portobello and shiitakes. You could use cream of chicken, chicken and garlic, chicken and herb. You can also use cream of chicken if you're not interested in, Now, second layer goes on. Like this. So I'm layering them now. They're all browned. All right, so second layer is right down the first layer. So what you want to do now is turn your burner off for that. And then make sure you have your pot holders. Okay. Now, okay. And then to lather it, layer it, cover it, do whatever. Okay. Finally. Because I use 5 cans of soup, it looks like, just for the mathematical equation, 1 more should do. Always go 1 less can. Make sure it's not too watery. There we go. Next up, you're going to love this next part, people. The lid. So, you guys are probably wondering, so let me move this here for a second. So here it is, completely ready to go. And see? Soup, mushroom soup on the top of all the pork chops, liquid around it. Put the lid on it. 350 when the oven's ready. For approximately 1 hour. Roasting in a deep roasting pan like this. And while you're at it, you take this You're probably like, what am I doing with the water? Simple cleaning, actually. See? Take a little soap. And make sure to put 2 cups of water in your frying pan. Then, you move this. You check on something. Yes, you got to check on something for cooking. Damn it. I don't want to hear this. Okay. Now, in the oven it goes. And then, you set a timer. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now. By the way, it looks like the weather in your area has been changing lately. I can keep you up to date if you ask Alexa, what's the forecast?
Right. So you And there you have it. So simple, it's simple as pie. Simplest recipe, easy. How to make it. I should also show you guys how to make green bean casserole for dummies. Onion, celery, salt, pepper, garlic, water. So good. Oh, and about Zoe's thing about cooking, right? There's a secret to cooking. Once you take let me just give you a couple quick tips, people, how to make soup, okay? So when you basically take and you cook for about 1 hour on high, you start it at high, and you slowly, as it's starting to boil, you turn the temperature down every 5 or 10 minutes on your stove while you're cooking chicken broth with real bones. All right, so as you're cooking it, remember to use the strainer. Then when you're done and you want to make soup in your crock pot the next day, there's 2 things I recommend. I'll show you. One, you can use this stuff pre-made for your chicken soup. See? Just throw that in there. Couple of this. I make some really good chicken soup. Throw this in there. Couple cans of that. Dilute it with your chicken base you made. You can do beef soup or make beef soup. Then you taste it as it's cooking in the crock pot. If it's not to your liking, you can throw in another can or 2. Now, if you don't have canned broth like we do, then the secret is 1 cube per cup of water. So, if you want to make soup real rich, 8 cubes in a crock pot. See? I also use these as a secondary flavoring for my ramen. Yep. So, what do you guys think so far? Two cans of water. I used 4 cans of water for this batch and 5 cans of mushroom soup to make sure the gravy is really good. These are big pork chops. Smaller pork chops, you use less mushroom soup. Bigger pork chops, you use more mushroom soup. It really works, and the formula is really good. And that is something you really want to do. Show the can again. See? Cream of mushroom. You can also use cream of chicken as an alternative. Cream of chicken with garlic, cream of chicken with herb and garlic. You can use cream of mushroom, and shiitake. Yeah, and it really makes the flavoring good. I should make up a green bean casserole one of these days. Show you how to make green bean casserole for dummies as well, you know. I already flipped them. I've already browned both sides. They're now sitting in the oven. They're going to cook nicely in the oven for the next hour, contained in its own gravy. You can also use cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, cream of chicken and mushroom, garlic, cream of chicken and herbs. I have it all in the back stored away. So another thing is, if you're not a big mushroom fan, there's an experiment that I tried that's highly tasty. You can take your Campbell soup, you brown your pork chops, you put them on. As secondary measures, if you don't like anything cream based, you can use tomato based. You can cook it in tomato soup. It's really tasty too. Yeah. And just let it slow cook, you know. And I'm telling you, it is something that is. I grew up with this, okay? I grew up cooking this. When my mom came home with pork chops, I was the one browning them, putting them in the pan. She was the one layering the soups, showing me everything. It's just like how to cook um, fried chicken, you know. Fried chicken is almost as simple too, you know. So this is a dish that you can make at home that's simple and sweet, and the outcome is to, you know, really good. I use a rotisserie, onion, celery, salt, pepper, garlic, water. Okay, so good. I bet those porks on. Layer this up. So I have 3 on the bottom, the soup on the bottom. Then I put the water on top of it so it gets around, making it, you know, so when it cooks in the soup. Then I put 3 more chops on the top. Then more soups. Now, say you have a family. Say's always got to cook for her family, and they want, say, pork chops. She'll have to get it. What she'll have to do is if she can get it 2 of those roasting pans like I have, they're cheap, like $10. You layer it up to 9 pork chops. Do the gravy, like I said. Put the water in it. Make sure it doesn't overflow, and then you throw it in the oven. And you brown the other set of pork chops. You do it at the same time. So when you open the oven and they're all browned all together on the stove, then what you do is you layer another set of 9 pork chops in the same way and you throw it in. So instead of cooking it this way, you cook it this way. So when you open the door, you throw them in sideways, or not sideways, front and back. Otherwise, you can cook it sideways if it's just yourself. And I'm telling you, the leftovers is really good. So there you have it. So then, when they're done, you just put them on a plate and eat them. And you add a little extra gravy to it, you know. And if you want to reheat them in the morning or lunch for breakfast, put them in a pan. Again, you clean out your. You can also use the cooking pot, put it in the fridge, and the next morning you take out a couple. And what you do is you can slow cook the soup gravy mix. Like, say you want milk that time around, you take and slow cook it on the stove while you cook the 30 minutes in the oven for reheat, and then you pull them out. What you do is you put it on a plate, and then you drip your gravy, which this time around, if you're cooking it on the stove, the mushroom soup, you can also, for your leftovers, use milk. So you can use milk with it, and it will come out really tasty too. So, you know. Duck, later, smile, enjoy dinner. Well, there you go. Any questions? I mean, literally, that's the way to do things, you know. So you do it that way, and it's awesome, So one of my friends said, "Do I wear a chef's hat?" No, I don't have a chef's hat. So there you have it. You have any questions so far? Because you can use salt and pepper. I figure pork's already naturally salty, so why use salt? Pepper you can use if you want to use it as a flavor. I don't. And then when I get done, you got enough gravy and enough. And because the soup's cooking inside the pan with the lid on it, it'll cook it pretty well, pretty good. So as long as you don't cook it open in a cake pan, you'll do better. Cake can kind of can slosh, so that's why I choose the roasting pan. You can use a small turkey pan to cook your pork chops. You might even be able to fit total of 12 in if you know what you're doing. Now, smaller pork chops, you can't fit 12 in easy. It's just these are large pork chops. So, need more for soups. So I gotta use a rotisserie. The other thing is, since always left is if you don't want to use chicken and you have excess turkeys, just cook a turkey in a turkey pan, make it all up, and then strip the carcass down. And then the next day, throw the carcass into a pot and make your soup base that way. And if you run out slowly, you can also go buy canned turkey stock or chicken stock. Works. They're both birds. And then I use chicken stock, and then you make your soup that way. And then once your crock pot's cooking and you got your stock going, about 2 to 3 hours before, I usually do it about 2 hours before, I throw in some canned corn, some canned green beans, the meat. It's already cooked, so you just let it all simmer in there. And you can also cook other dishes too. And I'm telling you, it is tasty. Yeah, so the pan is big, so I browned 3 at a time because the pan was deep enough. You gotta have a big enough pan. So, anyways, you guys are probably waiting for the final product. So, with 48 minutes to go, I guess I can watch 2 cartoon episodes while we're cooking. So, hopefully, I will show you the final product when it is done in 47 minutes. So hopefully you stay tuned because part 2 is going to be how to cook. Like I said, it's simple. You just brown it all. You brown your pork chops. You brown your pork chops. You layer your oil. You brown them on both sides. Stick them in a roasting pan. Layer it with mushroom soup. Try to even the mushroom soup out. And then afterwards, like I said, is you put 1 can of water per can of mushroom soup. I use 5 cans, so 4 cans because I like mine a little thicker. And then you brown up the second batch, layer them while your oven's preheating. And then when they're done browning, you just put the rest of the soup on the top, slow the lid on it, and you're good to go. So I'll show you the final product in part 2. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everyone, and hopefully you enjoyed part 1 of how to cook pork chops for dummies. Thank you. Please add and subscribe. Please post comments, leave feedback, suggestion at the subscribe button. So some fun for your family, including your dogs, cats, your bunnies, your service dogs, your service bunnies. The bell notification bell. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Just leave the comments. Nice, all we ask. Thank you, everyone, and stay tuned for part 2 of how to finish up and the final product of how to cook pork chops for dummies.